Dusty shelves, their whispering tales, silent voices in the night prevail. Pages torn but stories intact, each spine a world that's expertly packed. History's ghosts rise from every page, woven yarns from a bygone age. Golden mysteries with secrets tight, Agatha's plots in the candlelight. Turn the page, let the words flow. Through Austen's eyes, see hearts aglow. Secondhand magic, new worlds to chart. In this bookish heart we start.
Okay, there we go. I now have a fob for turning on the camera so you don't see me reaching across, but it doesn't always connect, so it takes a couple seconds, which sometimes there's like a, is it going yet? Expression. But hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. This in the middle of my forehead always drives me insane. I tried to do crazy and insane at the same time. It didn't work out so well. Anyway. Alrighty. Let's see if that just behaves itself. It's not going to because it never does. But don't fight the hair always wins. Okay. Doing another book review, this time on adventures in yarn farming. I'm trying to knock out a bunch of book reviews at one time because I had a bunch I let sort of pile up when I was trying to finish books at the end of the year. And then I had a bunch of book hauls that were going into Christmas that I hadn't yet, gone through those book hauls because I was trying to do reading. And then after Christmas, I had post-Christmas book hauls. So, and don't worry, guys, you're going to get more book hauls because my birthday is coming up. That's this coming week, which who knows when this video will go up. Maybe I'll have already had my birthday. Anyway, so there will be more book hauls after my birthday because that's pretty much all I asked for my birthday was books. But that has nothing to do with this. This is a book review. This is a book that I actually picked up. I'm not sure when I picked this up. But this was a 2024 year-long read for me. This is Adventures in Yarn Farming, 4 seasons on a New England fiber farm. So this book has a nice setup, first of all, for a year-long read. They separate the book, or she rather, the author's name is Barbara Perry. She and her husband have a yarn farm. Well, that's how she calls it. She calls it a New England fiber farm. But she calls it yarn farming in the title. Basically, it's a sheep farm. But they do all the other stuff around that. They don't just do meat, although they can't keep all the sheep, so they will sell sheep to local restaurants, or like they also mentioned at the end of the book that they have sapping for maple that they will also have for a local restaurant. And then they'll be able to have maple from their own trees. They get to enjoy some of that at their local restaurant. But they have this, you start off the book following their journey from starting with her. She's a knitter, and she just kind of got the idea one day, wouldn't it be cool if we got into, yarn farming? And she and her husband was all in for the idea, and they went and they got this farm. That's where you start the book, with them purchasing the farm, which used to be a farm for cows. So they got their farm, and you go through the process of them getting things set up, getting their first sheep, learning the ropes. But then after that initial point, this book is set up into seasons, which is what makes it so nice for a year-long read. And the sections aren't big, so it makes it nice as a sort of like, oh, yay, I got this, sections read done. So I got this period's read done. So it's set up by seasons, like I said. I believe they start off with winter. They start off with spring. So you have lambing. That's what you start off with. You start off with several lamb births. And then you have summer, where you're dealing with the lambs as they grow. You're dealing with the kitchen garden, lavender harvest. Then fall was, you're at the mill, you're doing yarn dyeing, which I talked about in passing And I have mentioned on previous videos that my mom dyes yarn, that she'll purchase the bare yarn from elsewhere, and then she'll use dyes. Now, when you dye, if you want it to be color fast, you want some sort of acid. And they do mention in this book several methods of dyeing, including what temperatures most dyes take, what temperature it takes for different dye colors to best adhere to the yarn. And that section is something that I thought might be really interesting for my mom, because she has noticed, and people who dye yarn will say this, that certain yarns require more washes to get the excess dye off. And I'm wondering if there would be less of that if the temperature best for that particular dye were used, if then it would be less wash off. So she wanted to have a list of books that she's going to read, and I think I'll pass this one on to her. I didn't actually mark this one up too badly, because this really was mostly like reading a memoir. And then you have, after the fall section, which also includes the Fiber Festival. Now they bring up, I believe they went to, they went to the one in New York. I've never been to that one. It's a big one. Because there's Maryland Sheep and Wool. I've been to that one a couple times. Haven't been in a long time, not since I stopped working. Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, went to that one. Rhinebeck, that's the one in New York. And there are people who will travel from various areas of the country just to come to Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck's a huge deal. But so she mentions taking her sheep to Rhinebeck. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. Okay. It'll come when I least expect it. So she talks through that process. She also talks through the process of selecting a sheep for when you want more, you want to add more rams to your stock in order to add more bloodlines, because otherwise you're going to end up with a bunch of inbred sheep, and then you'll start getting deformities. Then she talks about winter, where she talks about preparing for the winter and just helping the sheep kind of settle in at that point. One thing that was an interesting visual for me was I didn't realize that sheep went and would like bury themselves in the snow to sleep because they were perfectly comfortable that way. That sounds very uncomfortable to me, but I guess for sheep that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I found a bunch of just random fun facts in here, not to mention all the cute little pictures of sheep in here, particularly the lambs. And there are also like recipes in here, like some lamb recipes. There's knitting patterns. There's dyeing recipes, like stuff on dip dyeing. There's stuff on, I want to say there's stuff on doing some self-striping yarn, which is a lot more complicated a process. I don't dye yarn. I don't see things that way. I stuck to designing patterns. I didn't do the whole like color thing. But yeah, this is just a very interesting book for anyone who, you don't have to be a knitter or any sort of fiber artist to enjoy this book. If you enjoy reading about the way a farm is run, if you enjoy just learning about sheep and some of the aspects of their community, they talk a little bit about how goats are different from sheep when you have goats on your farm. But yeah, there's a bunch of fun things. There is a glossary in the back because some of the terminology is just, she didn't want to have to stop and remind you every few minutes. Like, that was that term I was talking about. So there is a glossary in the back. I believe there's also something for spinning in here, which I don't personally do. I did some drop spindling for a while, but your arm gets really tired doing this. And I think I had both kinds of spindles. I think I had one with the weight at the top and the one with the weight at the bottom. Although I think I usually had the one with the weight at the top, which apparently is more of an Egyptian style, according to the other book that I'm reading. But it's been so long since I've spun, and it's just not something, it was taken away from knitting time. but she does go over a little bit of some spinning stuff. I don't remember much about what she went over for the spinning stuff because it's not my particular craft, and I don't have anyone close by who spins, so it wasn't something that was of personal interest for me versus the dyeing where my mom dyes yarn, so I thought that she would be interested in that section. So I do recommend this book. I want to say I probably gave this one a 4 stars. No particular reason, nothing that really docked a star off of it. It just isn't necessarily a 5-star read for me. Very interesting book, very relaxing book, but yeah, it's fun. If this is a book that you think you might want to read, let me know down in the comments. If this is a book you have read, let me know. And if you are a fellow fiber artist, let me know in the comments as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next time. God bless. Bye.